Well, over the next few months, many of you will be relocating, and you know what that means. You have to pack this and that and move every single thing. Well, not to worry. I've gotten to the bottom of the moving situation to make it just a little bit easier for you. Let's take a look. All right, so I'm gazing into my crystal ball, and I see a move is in your future. All right, I also see all the boxes and the tape and everything else that's littering your house as you prepare for your move. But I have to tell you, the one thing that is always so difficult for me is packing, unpacking, and then reconnecting my home electronic and entertainment equipment. But never fear, because the cavalry is here. Joining us this morning as part of our My Home series is David Gregg. He is new product reporter and senior editor of BehindTheBuy.com to give us some tips and tricks in terms of making that move a little bit easier. Hey, David, good morning to you.
Da-da-da, call me your stress buster.
Da-da-da, yeah, I need it, because, you know, when you move, that is tough, moving your electronic equipment. So what would you say is the number one thing that people should know?
First and foremost, pack properly. And a lot of people say, you know what, I got rid of all of the boxes that came with it originally. Even if you're not using a moving company, they have a lot of those do-it-yourself centers. They sell prepackaged boxing that is actually designed to move a flat panel TV, to pack up your receiver and all of your other gizmos that you use to run your home theater. So buy the proper packaging and use a lot of care with putting padding in between all of that stuff too.
Can I tell you, I have friends who will just leave it there and go buy another whole system because they don't want to go through all the trouble. What's the advantage of moving it?
Well, obviously it's a monetary thing. If you're stuck on a budget and you've got to stay with what you've got, that makes sense. However, it's a good time to upgrade also when you move.
Right.
And I use a term called decorating. So when you do your upgrading, a lot of the manufacturers out there design stuff so it seamlessly integrates into all of your decor. From wires to Blu-ray players to getting rid of all of those remotes, it's just a good time to upgrade.
What are some examples then of how home technology can enhance our lives, can make our lives easier?
Well, obviously, we're living in a digital world.
Absolutely.
We have internet access that we need. We want to watch our favorite television programs when we want them, and also our telephone.
But I have to tell you, in our last move, it was so stressful packing up all of our equipment and also keeping everything safe, right, so that it's not broken when it gets to its final destination. Give me some tips on that.
Well, again, as I said before, you want to make sure it's properly packed, but more importantly, you want to make sure that you label. If you're proactive with your labeling, when you start unpacking that stuff, you'll know exactly what goes where. So you need to go out and buy a labeler, preferably one that has those colored label tapes. So when you unplug cables, wrap a label around it, because when you unpack it all, you're going to have this headache. And of course, you got to take your dishes out of the boxes too. This can be easy.
Spending that little bit of time now, right, to do that will make things a lot easier.
Organization is key. Being proactive with it is key.
All right, so I get to my new house. You know that night I want to turn on my TV. You know I don't want to be just sitting there with this mound of boxes overwhelmed. Give us some tips in terms of, can we get everything prearranged so that when we do get to our destinations, we've got our cable, we've got our, you know, home electronic system, everything ready to go? Listen,
the kids want to watch their favorite movies. You need to make phone calls. You need to get online. You need it to operate seamlessly, so when you're in your new place, you don't have to wait for a person to show up and hook it all up. There is a website called cablemover.com that includes a lot of the tips that we're talking about today, but more importantly, gives a person the opportunity to be able to pre-schedule all of those services, their telephone, their internet, their cable access, so the individual is waiting for you with a preset appointment to hook everything up. So as you're unpacking all those boxes, hooking up all that equipment, everything's going to function when you want it to.
It is true. That's a good point. All right, so you mentioned something called decorating. How does that apply to a move?
It applies to a move because, again, when you've got all this stuff coming out of boxes and you're starting to plug it in, and all of a sudden you're creating an eyesore with all these cables and all of these wires and all of this exposed equipment, there's different types of new products that are coming out to make it much easier. So another example right here, this is a surge protector that allows you to hide all the cables and all of the plugs. So you plug them all in, and then you just have one plug, and then they're all hidden. Here's a
That's
way
nice.
to wirelessly go online, and this is intimidating to a lot of people. Get rid of the wires and take this USB that comes with it device, plug it into your computer, and 3 questions are answered, and you're configured, you're online.
Nice.
Hide all of your equipment behind walls and operate it with a universal remote. You don't have to see anything inside. So tech rating is all about hiding the equipment so it seamlessly blends into the beautiful surroundings that you're going to be living in.
So are you going to come do this at my house on my next move?
Hold on, let me get my smartphone here. What day are you talking about?
I thought he was like, let me get my checkbook because you're going to have to pay me for this one, my dear.
I take online payments, so sure, yeah, we can work something out.
Talk about that
Okay.
one. Well, thank you so much because you've been so helpful. I'm sure our audience will really love these tips and tricks when they're planning their next move. Thank you, David.
Hopefully you're going to make it less stressful for you.
Absolutely, appreciate it. All right, so if you like the idea of having your cable, your internet, your computer, your phone, everything ready for you in your next move, simply visit cablemover.com. There you'll find some terrific tips in terms of helping you out with your move, helping you out with your technology. Everything you need is right there.